What's up, everyone? Welcome to Bluegrass State of Mind, the show where three college roommates talk life, sports, and all the ridiculous things that happen in an apartment we like to refer to as Room 302. We're bringing you stories, hot takes, and the kind of late-night debates that probably should have stayed in the group chat.
So grab your headphones, sit back, and get ready for a wild ride through our past college life, sports, and everything in between. Let's get into it. This is Bluegrass State of Mind.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Bluegrass State of Mind. We are feeling good because, it's not many times we get to come on here and we've got two Kentucky wins. Wow. I mean, what's going on? Is this real life? The only thing we're missing now, Colton, is our Titans winning a game.
I told Cameron that the other day, I said, I really can't remember the last time that I celebrated a Kentucky and a Titans win in the same weekend. It's been forever.
Well, I know Mason, he can't really celebrate his Packers. His Packers are on the struggle bus. I mean, what in the world?
Hey, I don't know what's going on with them. How do we lose to the Browns and the Panthers? I don't know. We just play to the level of our competition.
That's a rough one right there.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it. Let's go right into it. So, obviously, I want to apologize, and I know we had talked to this as well in our little group chat. We were really pumped and excited heading into our last episode because of the Purdue win. I guess it just, we really didn't think much of it about, prepping and talking that Wednesday night before the Thursday night exhibition game against Georgetown where they come out and laid an egg. So it was kind of, it was ironic that, we're hyping them up like, well, let's go, we're the number one team. And then the morning that it releases was the morning after they just lay the egg against Georgetown. So to the viewers out there, we apologize. That's not on us, though. I mean, would you all agree that that's not on us?
Come on, cats.
Making us look bad. All right, well, let's get into, though, what's really meaningful. The first real game of the season. I don't think, let's not talk really much a lot about Georgetown. If we want to, we can include that, but let's get straight to the real game. So, Kentucky had their season opener against, hold on just a second, guys, Nichols, and I've got my notes transferred down. Okay, here we go. Yeah, all right, so UK versus Nichols was the season opener. The all-time record for Kentucky in season openers is 101-21. Kentucky entered this game ranked number 9 nationally. On the flip side, Nichols comes off a 20-13 record from last season, and hey, they just had 3 returning players. Kentucky wins on the score of 77-51. The first half, the Cats were going into halftime with a lead of 28-15. The second half, Kentucky outscored Nichols 49-36. As far as more statistical stats for you all, the field goal percentage, the Cats shot 46.8%, 29 of 62 attempts. At 3-point field goal percentage, 25.9%, 7 for 27. Free throw percentage, 54%, 12 for 22. We had 21 assists versus Nichols' 9 assists. Couple highlights. Colin Chandler had his career high breakout game, 15 points, 4 assists, 2 steals, 2 rebounds, 1 block, all to go with his monstrous dunk.
That was just top 10, number 1.
Yeah, it was just wow. Otega Oweh does what he does, 13 points, 9 of them coming in the second half. Jasper Johnson, 11 points. Denzel Aberdeen did play. That was one of the, going into this game, he was like, is he questionable? Is like a game time decision. He did come off the bench. Really played a lot more, though, probably than expected due to Trent Noah's, with him getting hurt. But he did have 10 points and 6 assists. So, there's your stats for the game. Obviously, there's a lot of things I think we want to dive into. I'm going to start out with a positive real quick, though, because I know we're going to get that. I know we're all thinking the same thing, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there. I thought our defense looks really solid. Now, let's take into consideration we're playing this Nichols team. They were garbage. They were terrible. They did not shoot the ball well at all. Even our stats are bad, you think, like looking at their stats was even worse. I mean, they could not put it in the basket. But I don't want to say that was all because they just couldn't shoot the ball. There was a lot of times, I think that we were up in their grill made them question their shots going into the paint. Just a lot of focus. That's one thing that Mark Pope has really spoke in the offseason, especially coming off last year. Like that was the number one thing he wanted to improve was our defense of pressure and presence. And I do know going into halftime, I heard him speak, he really wasn't wanting to say much about the offense. That's one thing, you still got to love about Mark Pope. He's very optimistic guy. He likes to talk about the positives. So that was going into halftime. He's saying our defense looks great. I mean, we held them to 15 points, and that's still a D1 team. Like that's impressive to an extent. But on the flip side of things, let's talk a little bit deeper about if Kentucky. Are we a little worried? Colton, what's going on with the offense? I think there's a lot of things we can look at, but specifically, is this worrisome after watching not only this game, but seeing us play against a very athletic Georgetown team that's probably going to look more like a team we may face in SEC conference play?
Yeah. So far, just in what we've seen, my biggest takeaways, just to get the pros out real quick. One, I do think we are more athletic than we were last year. Two, I do think our defense is better than it was last year. And three, I think we are definitely deeper than we are last year. Like those are three issues we had last year. I think we did address those in different ways. Now, the flip side of that, and I said this going into the season, even though, of course, you know how the off season gets. Every time you get a transfer, you only see the highlights of that transfer. Everyone thinks that they take any random transfer, making the best transfer in the world. The fans are like, everyone gets excited about it. Here's the reality: Amari Williams was very good for us last year. Like he was a very good center, and granted, Quaintance hasn't played yet. And like ideally he'll be a really good center or slash forward for us. But when I look at that, I was like, did we bring in a guy? Do we have a five that's better than Amari Williams? Right? When also I was like, no, I would take Amari Williams over anyone that we have now on the roster in that position. And I thought to myself, well, did we bring in a better shooter than Kobe Brea? Did we bring in a better shooter than Jackson Robinson? We didn't. Right? We don't have better shooters than we did. And I thought to myself, when Butler actually played, do we have a better two-way guard? Now Jalen Lowe hasn't played yet, but Butler was a very good two-way guard when he actually played. And that was my biggest worry. That's my biggest takeaway right now so far is while we got deeper in other positions and we've got a bunch of these guys that can do it, we didn't necessarily we didn't necessarily get better in overall. We just didn't. I mean, we're deeper, and I think that we have multiple guys that can do things. I just think that, I just looked at that and I'm like, man, do we have guys better at those certain positions? And I think that's the biggest struggle right now. We're athletic, but do we have a better point guard? Do we have a better shooters? And right now they haven't proven it.
Yeah, I think that's
Sorry,
a great
I got
point.
distracted there.
Yeah, I heard the screen there. It's all good.
Yeah, the Falcons scored a touchdown in the playoffs.
Actually, hey, is my screen frozen on y'all, or can y'all see me moving?
It is. It's frozen.
Okay, well, it's still going on, so we're going to continue on. Yeah, that's a great point, Colton. Thinking about that, Mason.
Yep.
Question for you, I guess, and you can elaborate off this question and would dive into anything else to what you're wanting to dive into. I think a lot of it is, at the end of the day, so far what we have seen in the two exhibition games and our first regular season game, to Colton's point somewhat, we haven't had those guys step up that we thought were going to step up. And some of those guys, I immediately think of is that the Cam Williams, the sharpshooter, the Trent Noah, who in the offseason everybody was talking about cannot miss. The Otega Olwe, the improvement that they said that he's made on, being able to create on his own a little bit. Now, not crazy, but I'm not seeing that. Elaborate a little bit more on that. Are we still seeing some of the same old stuff that, yes, it's going to win us a lot of games, But what are we talking about? We're Kentucky basketball. At the end of the day, it all comes down. And like you all mentioned last time on here, we need to make an Elite Eight. We need to make a Final Four. So yes, I think although some of these guys are playing okay, and yes, let's pump the brakes a little. It's just the
It's
first game of
early.
the season.
Yeah.
But what we really want to see, we haven't even seen that light yet. Jasper Johnson might be another one to consider. What are your thoughts on that, Mason?
Yeah, so I think one of my biggest takeaways that I've seen so far throughout these games, and I know he may not be fully healthy yet. He was kind of limited, but always just looked like he doesn't have that same drive. Like he kind of just looks like he's out there, kind of always
Very
gagging around at
lackadaisical.
times. Yeah, not great body language. I don't know if he's, like I said, I don't know if he's still not 100% healthy. I don't know if, he's kind of checked out. I really don't know what's going on, but he doesn't look like the same player that we saw, throughout spurts and, the majority of last year. He doesn't have that same drive, same energy, same effort, and I don't know what's going on. It's just weird to me right now. To see somebody like Owe come out and play so hard every game last year, and
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You're
Colton. I know you
talking
want to say
about the
something.
preseason SEC
yeah.
Player of the Year too.
I think we have to pump it a little bit because we got to remember those games when like Owe was like kind of non-existent, right? I think we got used to seeing a few of those takeover games that he had at the end of the season last year against Oklahoma a couple times, and a couple of those, and then I think we were all like, man, that's the Owe of next year. But like there were several games Owe was kind of like, where's Owe, right?
Oh, I
Like,
don't
like
expect
what-
Owe to be that way. I'm not.
So
I
like,
don't.
so I think that's kind of where I was like, I think everyone was like, saw those games and was like, that's going to be, if we get that Owe this year and we can surround him with other guys. But I think we got to pump the brakes because there's a reason why Owe came back also. I think he's a very good player, but like we're in a league now where like guys, if you weren't going to get drafted, I mean,
Right.
you
And
know.
and here's what I'm gonna say in response to that. I'm gonna be positive side here. Both of we lost Jalen Lowe in our blue-white game, right? And that's your starting point guard. And I think we've seen it throughout these games that Colin Chandler and Jasper Johnson, they're not ready to play the one. Against better competition, they can't run the one right now. Too many bad decisions, trying to force things, too many, easy passes they should make, or not smart turnovers. They're not running the game how it should be run. And I think I may be a little bit biased, but I think a point guard is one of the most important positions on the floor, right? They're the one who they set the tempo of the game. They're the one who comes down, that gets their teams in sets, gets everybody where they need to be, and they're supposed to be able to create for the rest of the team. And whenever you suddenly lose your starting point guard, and then you also lose your backup point guard for one game, Denzel Aberdeen, I think that kind of throws a wrench in things. Think about it in practice. They have rotations and lineups that they're probably running with, and Denzel Aberdeen and Jalen Lowe were probably running the one with those rotations and lineups majority of the time. So they have that chemistry, they have that timing, they have all these things down that they've been practicing for months. And all of a sudden, you take those two away, it's going to be hard to get in your offense. It's going to be hard to run some of the things you've been running. So I think that's part of what we've seen with some of the offensive lapses here recently. And then I want to talk a little bit about the 3-point shooting. So I don't think. Yeah, and I don't think we're a bad shooting team. I saw, several things on Twitter, and I've got some stats here. I really think they're just going through a shooting slump because our 5 best guys from 3 are probably Noah Williams, Aberdeen, Jalen
Johnson,
and Jasper. Chandler's probably in there too. Yeah,
I would put Chandler is.
Yeah.
I mean, so those 5 guys that I just named, I didn't put Chandler in there because he really didn't shoot the ball well until the second half against Nichols. But they went 6 for 26 from 3, 26%. All right, 3 more of those go in. That's 39%, and nobody would even be having this conversation. But a more important stat that I saw was we had a 4-game stretch last season early on where we shot 29 for 107. All right, 27.1%. That's only 1% better than what we shot at so far. And
right, but we relied on that last year. Like
over
the games
6
that we
games,
didn't shoot good, we lost.
No, that's what I was about to say. Over 6 games, it was 44 for 157, 28%. And during that stretch, we beat Louisville and we beat Gonzaga. Both of those games, we're shooting less than 30% from 3. We still picked up 2 big wins last year. So, and then that team straightened it out, right? And I think this team, I really do believe we have some shooters, but it's been so hard for them to get good looks because you don't have a true point guard who's out there able to create for you and do these things that they've been used to with Jalen Lowe and Aberdeen, running the point. I looked at his stats. He had 10 points, 6 assists, and 0 turnovers. Denzel Aberdeen did against Nichols. And you look at Colin Chandler, Jasper Johnson, each of them who were trying to run the one, they had 2, 3 turnovers each. So I think we're going to see some of this kind of work itself out. Just, be a little patient, pump the brakes a little bit. Let's see how we look whenever we get our point guards back. And it'll be interesting to see tomorrow with Jalen Lowe back.
Here would be my pushback with that, though, and this is where I still am worried about the shooting. If I know we don't have our starting point guard, but we're talking about Nichols. If we can't get open looks with guys who are going to possibly be, could be starters on any team in our league. If we can't create good looks with those 5 guys, because you can't. To an extent you can, but you can't. You can't, like, it was like whenever we played Mason. Like, I can't expect you to be the only person to get us in a set and create some offense and good shots. Like, that's just not that's not going to happen. So I guess my pushback would be is yes, we're playing Nichols. If Colin Chandler, who is that backup, or Denzel Aberdeen, who is the backup, can't do that, then what are we going to look like whenever we're playing against these high caliber SEC teams and the ACC, the Louisvilles, the North Carolinas, so. Yes, we may be in a shooting slump, but it might come down deeper to that. It's the shots that we're getting. It may be that as well, because a lot of the shots that you're seeing Cam Williams fire up and Trent Noah fire up is their rush. They're shots that if they don't get them wide open, then they're having to rush them because they didn't get many wide open, I didn't think. I felt like Cam Williams was almost hesitant to even shoot the ball this second half because of fear of missing, if you notice. There was a couple times he passed, I thought, up a couple of shots. So that would be my only pushback on that, and that scares me a little bit because this is just the warm-up phase. We literally enter into Louisville, who looked really good. Now, I know they was playing, I think it was maybe South Carolina State, maybe. I don't know who it was.
Yeah.
But, that's what I was hoping we could come out and do. But I want to hear some other thoughts on this as well. So listen, I love Mark Pope's system of, the way that he gets people moving off the ball. It's consistent ball movement. However, I do not like running it every single time. And I feel like that's what we're doing. We're coming down, and whenever we don't get something in transition, it's immediate throw it to the big. Let's have the 2 guards do like a little backdoor cut, rub off each other, look for that back door. And if it's not there, then we're going to dribble up and pass it up. And it's just like, what are we doing? We're stagnant. We're not moving the ball. It's like we're all focused on that right there. What are y'all thoughts on that? I'm not a big fan of it every single time. I think that it's good for certain scenarios whenever that defense is not going to be expecting it because you get easy baskets. But running it every time, I'm starting to get okay, we got to figure something out. We got to get some ball movement going on rather than our big just holding it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that this is where we've kind of harped on while we love that Pope focuses on bringing in these guys that are culture fitters, and you bring in a bunch of talented guys. Once again, we haven't seen Lowe play and we haven't seen Quaintance play, but those are the moments when you need kind of the stars, right? When all of a sudden the things get stagnant. Now, where's that guy? Where's that guy to go get that bucket? Where's that guy to create the play when no one else can do it? And once again, I just don't, hopefully Lowe is kind of one of those guys. Quaintance, seems to be maybe our best chance of having a first round pick based on what everyone says, but who knows how he is off an injury and he ain't even played. That's my biggest worry. It's well, once again, I don't know who your go-to, the first few games, who would you say is your go-to guy? You would think maybe Owe based on last year. Otherwise, the only one that I've seen to create his own little thing and have it would be Jasper Johnson, showing a little bit of glimpse of Dillingham, just a small bit, but then kind of took a step back. Other than that, I just don't see. And my thing is, yes, I think this whole thing is going to run way better with Jalen Lowe. But I'm like you, Dylan. I feel like we brought in 13 guys deep, and who's their backup point guard? Like I feel like we've got 5 or 6 guys that play the 2 and 3 position, but I don't feel like we have another point guard on the team. Like I feel like Chandler and Aberdeen, like they're going like rotate, but like they're not point guards. And we
I think
hurt
it's got
last
to
year
be
when
Aberdeen.
Butler went down. I mean, I think he's the only chance we have, but I still don't think he's a true point guard. I think he's just the best option we have, and that kind of it worries me because I mean, Lowe's a little smaller, so who's to say a bigger, stronger guy don't go at him pretty early on in the game and get him 2 fouls pretty quick, and then what's our offense going to look like if he goes out? And I don't know.
No, I agree. Mason, what's your thoughts on the whole offensive, scheme?
Listen, I'm going to stick strong to my Aberdeen thing is our point guard because I think in the first half of that Nichols game we saw that kind of stagnant offense, right? We saw a lot of standing, some cutting, throwing it to the big, couldn't really get any good open looks. And then in the second half, Trent Noah goes down. Aberdeen comes to the 1 with that first group. You move Colin Chandler back to the 2, his true position. You see how much better Colin Chandler played in the second half when he was able to not have to worry about bringing the ball up, getting the team in his set, running the right things. And I truly think that our offense looked completely different in the second half. I mean, what we scored in the second half, 40, almost 50 compared to 28,
49, yeah.
in the first. So I'm sticking with my point that I think this is going to change. The only thing that still worries me is not having that guy one-on-one. And like you said, Coach, I mean, we've seen Jasper do it here and there. Oway can be that guy, but I really think a lot of Pope's offense, I think, revolves around the point guard being able to create. They set a lot of screens, a lot of high ball screens with the big roll, and the point guard being able to make that read. And I think a lot of those things are going to be better whenever you have somebody like Lowe, who is used to having the ball in his hands. He had to create his own shot last year. He can create for others. He had a high assist. I think we're going to be fine. It just worries me getting down into those games where you need somebody to go take over a game. That's my biggest worry right now.
Well, it's a lot to worry about. I feel like just because what's not to worry about when you're a Kentucky Kentucky basketball fan and you're not winning the first game like you think you should. So, however, though, let's not get
in. Crazy.
Yeah, I know. Let's not get into too much because I feel like we're going to maybe touch on that a little bit at the end moving forward about Kentucky's matchup possibly. But quick question. Am I still frozen on y'all's screen?
Hey, it's just been a black screen.
Okay.
Turn it off.
Well,
turn your camera off. Right. Turn it back on.
Well, I did. I done all that. But and then I also got a phone call from my dad saying Monroe came back and won. And so I hope it's continuing to record because it restarted the timer at 4 minutes. But I mean, we'll see what happens. I feel like this is an ongoing thing that happens. Oh well. All right, let's get into some UK football. Like we spoke earlier on, whenever we started, we are finally in the win column. UK visits the Auburn Tigers, defeats them of a final score of 10-3. Kentucky's first SEC win of the season. Kentucky snaps a lengthy SEC road drought by winning this game. This is Kentucky's first win against Auburn since 2009, breaking that long streak in that series. Just a couple of highlights. Defense was solid. Kentucky looked very good on defense. Kentucky held Auburn to 241 total yards. Auburn just rushed for 79 yards on 32 attempts. Kentucky recorded 7 sacks and 12 tackles for a loss. Going to win a lot of ball games if you can do that. Auburn was limited to just one red zone trip all night. I think that may have been the most impressive stat of all for Kentucky's defense. Offensively, Kentucky's quarterback Cutter Boley continued to look solid. He was 18 for 29 and passing for 161 yards with 1 touchdown. Did have 2 interceptions. On the ground, Kentucky's leading rusher was Seth McGowan with 21 carries for 53 yards. I mean, I don't want to come out and say anything bad because I feel like that's all we've been doing. So it's like I almost want to just end it there and be like, "Way to get a dub, guys!" Like I don't want. I don't want to be like, "Oh, there's still we can work on this," and we got to win in the SEC.
We know.
The country.
it's just does it not amaze you all how we find a way to win a SEC road game every year, but we cannot win a home SEC game? It's just like, what in the world? If you're a Kentucky football fan, you might as well go to an away game. You have a better chance. Your odds are better watching them win on the road than at home. Any comments on it? Because I mean, like, I that's all I've got. I mean, I just want to throw that out there with the stats and Kentucky. Go Big Blue, baby. You got to win.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's a win. It wasn't pretty, like you said. Our defense looked great, and Auburn's defense has been pretty solid all year. They've had a pretty good defense. But we came out. They switched it up, threw in a different quarterback to start against us, and so we came out. Our defense played well, like you said, Dylan. I think 7 sacks is, I mean, that's crazy good. Especially in the SEC, 7 sacks is ridiculous. So I'm just glad we got a win. Go Cats!
Yeah, same. Not much to talk about it. A classic Brad White game. Those type of teams, we're really good. We can. Our defense has been the only thing that's been somewhat competitive over the last 3 or 4 years. Like, it's the one thing that's kind of been still a staple. We can get into those type of games and stay competitive. Tennessee's about the only type of team in the SEC where we just can't. Brad White's defense is not. We do not know how to play that one. We can't play against the spread. But when you play against teams like Auburn, who wants to run in and kind of drag the game out, like we can. Our defense is built for that. Big shout out for them. The season is what it is. And who knows? We want to talk about. I don't know
Does
if you're
this
bringing
save
this.
Mark Stoops?
Yeah.
Let's get into
Yeah,
it
I
just a
know.
little bit.
Let's just go it. Yeah, so like that's what I was going to mention. I don't know if y'all saw the big hug that him and Mitch Barnhart had
Yes.
after the game, and Stoops
Little
was in
emotional,
tears.
little much.
Stoops was in tears. It's one thing to be like, man, with everything we've gone through, like this is a tough year. Like that's a second win we've had in 2 years in the SEC. They're making it seem like that's not something to be rewarded. Like that's not like good. I'm glad you didn't lose, but that's still. And I don't like. Here's the thing. I'm like Billy Joe when he came on here. I'm very appreciative of Stoops for what he's done.
Stoops troop, baby.
With the program and being along. It's very impressive to be here as long as he's been in the SEC. We had those really good years where he made us relevant when we weren't. We were at a very low point with Joker Phillips and against lost to Bandy at the end of his tenure. Like it was bad, but at the same time, I hope that this just doesn't change. I will say the coaching search with all these big schools getting, firing their coaches, and they're going to be much more appealing jobs in Kentucky.
Yeah,
maybe that would be you have Penn State, you have
LSU,
Oklahoma State, LSU, you have probably most likely
Florida.
You have Florida, you have Auburn now.
Yeah.
You have most likely Florida State. You get a chance for Florida State. I mean, there's all kinds of just much more appealing jobs than what Kentucky is. And so if you're going to keep him, that has to be the only reason, is that you're waiting on a next coaching cycle. Because other than that, I just don't think that you can celebrate a second win in 2 years and as a reward, you get to coach again. Like this
We're gonna keep you.
That's
your goal. One win a season.
One win a season. I mean, at what point are we going to... And like I said, I appreciate Stoops. I don't know if he's getting close to retiring. I don't know. Whatever it is. But we've got to change the philosophy. You've shown some promise with Cutter Bowley. Get him an offensive coach in there.
Mm-hmm.
See if you can get some high-level athletes and recruits to come in. And see if you can, in 2 years, see if you can become an offense that can put up 30 a game. And we'll figure out the rest. Brad White can stay there. But see if you can find an offense that can put up 30 a game and see what we do. I'd rather lose 30-40 than lose 10-3, like Auburn. Like I don't want to be in those games anymore going forward.
Yeah, I think I love what and I want to add this on there. I want everybody, whoever listeners out there, and for us to think about it. When you see that Stoops and Barnhart embracement of a hug, it almost takes you back and it questions you, have we stooped down to that low? What is our standard?
Yeah.
So you're telling me our standard is we're going to celebrate our second win in 2 years. We're going to celebrate our first win in the SEC play, and we're doing it because it's too I feel like that just said that's enough. Like that speaks for itself. And it's disappointing. And again, I hope that it's not that emotions overcome, reality. And I think that, we've said this before. This might be a deeper problem what we're even talking about. It might be a whole Mitch Barnhart get him out. Like I think Mason, you've said that before. Like that could be something that we spoke a little bit about. Mason, do you have any quick comments about the football? I mean, well, actually, you've already went a little bit. I mean, do you want to add anything before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's funny that, Stoops probably had the hottest seat in college football going into last weekend. He was probably number one on the hot seat compared, a lot of other teams had already fired their coaches. We come in, we get a win, and it results in the other team's coach being fired. Doesn't that just tell you, like, you lost to Kentucky? You're out of here. We got to change something.
That's not fair enough.
This should not save his job. All right, he's got to be gone.
Mason, before we move into this next segment, what was you mean by saying turn my camera off? Are you just saying like swipe up and then get back into it?
No, at the bottom left, you see like the little camera thing. Tap it.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that's what that done.
I mean, it didn't change anything.
Nope, you still got a black screen, but
yeah. Okay. Well, all right. Well, let's get into the next segment of the night. We are going to talk a little bit of the overall opening week of college basketball. Very similar to what we do with college football. I'm going to highlight a couple of games, a lot of big games this week. Love to see that, and we're just going to nitpick what we liked, what's something that you maybe raised an eyebrow here or there. So let's get into it. So, I think one of the biggest ones, the best matchup that we've seen was number 3 Florida and number 13 Arizona. So we know that Florida is coming off their championship from last year, lost a lot but kept a lot. They end up playing in Las Vegas and losing to Arizona 87-93. Florida shot 30 for 70 overall at 42.9%. They really struggled from the 3 at 7 for 27, a lot like the Cats. Their go-to probably this year, it performed very well for Florida. Thomas Hall had 27 points, 7 for 13 from the field. He was 1 for 4 from 3 and shot 12 of 14 free throws. Xavion Lee, who was the transfer, I did not write where he transferred from down. Do y'all remember?
Princeton.
Yep, that's right. Had 14 points in his debut, 3 of 11 from 3. And then on the flip side of things, Arizona, they might just have some dogs. Cole Pate, true freshman, 30 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. Jaden Bradley, 27 points, a career high, 9 of 14 of shooting. I'm going to tell you right now, those two right there. Now, listen, I don't know if they were just high on their horses playing that well, but talk about a dynamic duo coming down the stretch. You got Cole Pate in the paint balling, and then you have that also coming from the point guard attacking. When I was watching Jaden Bradley, it was just like, man, that's the kind of player that wins you games in March. That's exactly what came to my mind. So let's continue on, and I'm sure you all will feed off that. Another game, number 8, BYU. A lot of talk. They had the number 1 recruit coming in, AJ DeBonsta, against the Villanova Wildcats. BYU outscores and wins as 71-66. AJ DeBonsta, however you want to pronounce it, had a 21 points, 6 rebounds in his debut. Then we have the Duke Blue Devils, number 6, playing the Texas Longhorns. Duke won 75-60. Isaiah Evans scored 23 points. Cameron Boozer, the Boozer twins coming. It was some big prospects for Duke. Had 15 points, 13 rebounds. And then you have, I guess, one of the shockers of the entire opening week was Mr. Stephen Pearl, Auburn's head coach, Bruce Pearl's son, coming into the reins, taking over his first year. Number 20 Auburn, playing at home against Bethune. And this game, I actually watched a lot of this game, especially the second half. Auburn barely wins it 95-90 in overtime. Auburn just did not look like the old Auburn at all. I know that they lost a lot, but their field goal, Auburn shot 31 for 66. Their 3-point percentage was 6 for 23 at 26%. Just a lot to unpack here, guys. So, Mason, take us where you want us.
Yeah. So I guess first game I'll talk about is the Florida Arizona game. I thought Florida looked good early. They came out. I think their biggest problem going forward that kind of showed over the length of the game is maybe decision making in their backcourt. Their two guards. I think they're both good guards and can create, but maybe they take some questionable shots, don't make the right decisions. Um, and Arizona looked really good, like you said, Dylan. I mean, the two they had there, if they can come out and play like that first game of the season, I mean, they've obviously shown they can go take over the end of games and win games. I mean, that's dangerous. I can tell you right now, just from watching them, I don't know what's going to happen the rest of the season, but that's not going to be a team you want to run into in March. When you have two guys like that, they can take over down in the paint, or another one who can take over from outside. That's going to be tough to compete with at times. So and like we talked about, that's something that we've been missing the last 2 years. So hopefully somebody like that steps up for us.
Yeah.
Next one,
hold on. Let me shoot Colton. Colton, talk to me one.
Do what? About a game?
I said, let me, talk to me about a game. I'm going to shoot it back to Mason unless it's the same thing. I just want us to flip-flop back and forth and feed off each other.
Okay, I'll go over to, just one on that one. Walter Clayton Jr. is not there anymore. He was a dog in the backcourt, but they've got some okay players. So they'll be fine. Their bigs are still studly. But I'll talk about the Auburn game. Obviously there's a lot of eyes on it. Bruce Pearl making a last-minute announcement right before the season starts that he's retiring. His son, who has zero head coaching experience, taking over what's been, I would argue, at least for sure, top 15, if not top 12 program over the last 7 or 8 years in Auburn. And then obviously you play a game which, was supposed to be, I don't know what they were favored, 23, 24 maybe. And you go into overtime with the team. So obviously there's going to be questions around that. Auburn didn't look like the same Auburn, but I will say this. I think you have to pump the brakes a little bit. Calipari's first year, we went into overtime, or we went down to the wire to Miami, Ohio. Right. John Wall had to hit a last shot. Right.
So was too, Dylan.
Right. And so it's early on. This guy you're talking about, he's got his own philosophy. These guys have been so used to, even though while he's been there in the coaching staff, obviously he's not his dad, and the respect that you have to earn from players and the will and the drive to play hard, and just everything's had to happen quick. So I would just say pump the brakes a little bit, because Auburn just seems to always find a way to be kind of very athletic and competitive. Yeah, and they'll be okay. They might lose a little bit of that toughness that Pearl brings with them, but I mean, I don't it shouldn't be that big of a difference, right? Because if Bruce Pearl, even though Auburn was going to be a little bit down, if he was still the coach, we'd be thinking of Auburn being probably a really good team this year, and those guys are still they're there. So I just pump it a little bit on them.
Dylan, let me ask you, because you said you watched a lot of. You said you watched a lot of the Auburn game. Tahad Pettiford, he's supposed to be, one of the best guards in the SEC.
He looks absent. He looks uninterested in the entire. He does not look like he wants to be there. Yeah. He's checked out. I mean, he really is. And I don't know if it's more of last year, that hangover from last year of not really being that guy that I think a lot of people thought he was going to be coming into the season. And, you talk about, what was his name?
Janai Broome.
Yeah, Broome, kind of taking on that role. I that is something I immediately caught on. He is just checked out. Doesn't really, I don't know if it's a deeper thing, but just his body language doesn't look like he has the respect for his coach or his teammates or the entire program at the time. That's just my thoughts.
Aren't there rumors about him like possibly entering the transfer portal? Aren't there rumors floating around about
I
that?
saw that. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that was in. I mentioned it on the podcast. I thought he was gone.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But as a whole, do you all think this year we're looking at? Was it because we've not seen college basketball so competitive? I think last year, like it was at the level it was, or maybe it was just just the SEC that we just wasn't so used to seeing. That this year, in comparison, it's so down. It's going to be really down, or is it just because last year was just a different year, like a new level? Like, what are y'all's thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm on that. I was thinking about that the other day. I really just think that the SEC is going to be I still think they're going to be above average. Like we got 14 teams in the SEC or in the tournament last year. All but 2 teams made the NCAA tournament. I mean, that's crazy. I still think SEC is going to get probably 9 in, close to 9. 10. Last year was just such a big year, and I think there's just we talked about this with like Treg about how like NIL just spreads out the talent so much, right? Like the number 1 player in the country going to BYU. Last year you had Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper at Rutgers who didn't even make the tournament, right? You had I mean now you're just getting these guys all over that where you would have seen them at Duke or you would have seen them at UK and you would have seen them. I mean, we obviously Jasper Johnson is our top recruit, and he was what, number 20 something.
Yep.
That's just
Yeah.
the times have changed, right? So I mean, times have changed in that aspect, and I think that's really why you're seeing that. I think it's just more spread out more than just these dominant teams.
Well, I don't want to mean to shift gears of college basketball, but I guess I want to talk a little bit about, you was talking about, the top recruits. Have you all seen this stuff with what's going around with the whole Tyron Stokes thing? The number 1 recruit, I guess, in the 2026. My uncle had actually mentioned it to me earlier today, and I was like, no, I've not seen that. So I looked into it. So, yeah. So just for those who are just throwing this out there, we can talk just a little bit about before we get into our next segment. But, Tyron Stokes, number 1 recruit in the 2026 class, one of Kentucky, viewed as the leading candidate with other schools such as Kansas and Oregon. He is no longer enrolled at his high school. And there's a storyline regarding the possibility of him reclassifying from the 2026 class to the 2025 class is what I'm saying. I just don't really understand what's going on. Mason, you got any input on that? Have you read anything on it?
Yeah, I've seen it floating around there. I saw where he's no longer with his high school team. Rumors floating around about him, reclassifying, transferring in, spring and kind of practicing with this team, getting to learn and develop here at UK. I've also seen stuff rolling around about him potentially going EYBL, or, going to like overtime elite, something like that. So who knows? And I'm not going to, based on some of the stuff I've read, I feel like he does maybe have a little bit of an attitude problem or, a work ethic. Doesn't seem like he has a really high motor sometimes. But I will say, I've seen stuff out there this week too about, DeMarcus Cousins kind of the same way, right? I know he had some issues whenever he was in high school with his team and kind of reminds me, of that same attitude Boogie had whenever he was just coming out of high school. And I can't remember the exact story,
Good comparison.
but there was something. Yeah, there was something that I think Coach Cal told his mom, or maybe his mom told Coach Cal, about keeping him in line. And so maybe that's all he needs. He just needs to get somewhere where, he can focus on things and hopefully Pope can get him in line. I think he's a heck of a talent. I just hope that if he does come, he's not a head case and doesn't cause issues.
Yeah. Got any thoughts before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, it's just hit or miss. As long as he's not another Shaden Sharp,
yeah, that would be unfortunate.
We don't want that to happen again. We don't want that whole mess to happen. I think that based on what we know about Pope and his mindset, that if that's the case, like something's going to have to give, right? Right? Because I mean, that's not something that seems like Pope really takes,
Lewis.
or those type of guys that come on, right? Exactly. So So if that's going to be the case, then I do hope we get him though, because I mean, obviously you want the number one recruit to come to UK. And I will say this: we need to hit on a draft class. Like it's that point now. It's gonna be his
Third,
second full.
second
I'll
full. I
say a
thought you
second
said
full because he come in like at a later time. So this is gonna be his second full true draft class. And now you're talking about now that you know the type of money that's being thrown into the program, like it's time to bring these guys in. Like we need some stars. I'm all for not having to bring in 6 or 7 freshmen anymore. That's great. Don't worry about that. But you see the AJ, you see these guys at Arizona, and you see the Boozer twins, or especially the Cameron Boozer at Duke. You see these top guys in the AJ at BYU. I mean, those guys are good, and I miss seeing 1 or 2 of those on Kentucky. And so
yeah.
I hope that we can get a few of those guys in.
No, I agree 100%. All right, let's get into our next segment. Tonight's segment, the break of sports that we're going to be doing is draft it or pass it. I'm going to give you a option. You can either draft it or you can pass it. We each have 3. You can elaborate off of it, take it as you want. All right, Colton, you're starting up. Here we go. Draft it or pass it. Waffle House after midnight.
Oh, drafting for sure. I'll take it. Waffle House signature, all-star breakfast. No matter
All-star,
what
yep.
time of
I knew it was
day,
coming.
no matter what time of day, a cup of coffee, all-star breakfast. Give me the pancakes, the
Does it hit
eggs, and
just a
hash
little bit better
browns.
after midnight, though, you would think?
It just does, right? Because you only have very few things open, right? It's going to be a Taco Bell or a cookout or but the Waffle House, the one place you can really seem to actually go inside and sit down, right? And it's a little hole in the wall looking place. Man, there's just nothing that hits better than those type of places anyhow. I'm giving it. I'm for sure drafting Waffle House at any time of the
Okay,
day.
here
It
we
don't
go.
matter.
Off to a hot start. All right, Mason, draft it or pass it. John Calipari's one and done philosophy.
Now, pass it.
You didn't want to give me that one?
I wanted to give it to Mason.
Pass it for sure nowadays. And I will say this before I get into this. I do think, I watched Malik Thomas. I think he's going to be really good. And I do miss seeing guys like that.
And
But I just think,
Darius Acuff.
yeah, I mean, both of them, yes. But I just think we've talked about this in today's college basketball landscape. You have more and more guys staying who have this experience, who've been through it, who've been able to develop their bodies, for a couple more years at this level and focus not solely, but they have a lot more training, a lot more coaching, lot better facilities, all these different things. I just think it's hard to win with one and done nowadays. So I'm passing it.
All right. Well, here's mine. Draft it or pass it for me will be Bucky's food being actually worth the hype. I'm going to pass on this. If it was rephrased as Bucky's snacks, I would draft it. Listen, I don't know. I may have just had a couple of bad experiences, but man, the brisket I've got there
Fresh brisket on
has
the bowl.
it has not been, and maybe my standards are too high because I got a cousin who makes brisket at Christmas, and it is just amazing. But yeah, for the price, I was like, "Oh my goodness, no, not ever doing this again." Now the snacks, I mean, yeah, talk about, they have some pretty great snacks that I enjoy. But as far as food, I don't count those as like the fudge. I don't count that as food for me. I guess some people that might be a hot take, but that's up to you on what you want to, I guess clarify if that's a snack or a food item for you. But yeah, I'm passing it. All right, Colton, back to you. Draft it or pass it. Remember the Titans as the best sports movie ever.
Ooh.
Man, it is my number 2 favorite movie of all time.
It's a sports
But
movie.
my number 1 is also a sports movie. And
Sandlot.
so I'm going to pass it. Yep. The Sandlot is my favorite movie of all time.
Good movie.
And so I'm going to pass it. It is my second favorite, so I'm going to pass it because I think The Sandlot is a classic.
Mason, do you agree with that, or would you disagree?
I agree. I think Sandlot's a classic. I mean, I think that's something that
That's just,
as
can
a
you imagine going
kid,
back into those days?
right?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, another
I
great
mean,
sports movie I watched the other day was on. I was just like, man, I love this movie, Coach Carter. It was on, and I was like, man, that
That
and
popped
like
into my
Glory
head too.
Road.
Yeah.
yeah.
Man, those are just great movies. They don't make those movies anymore. I feel like,
Nope.
so good. All right, Mason, draft it or pass it. Wearing slides with socks.
Oh man, this was a trend back in the day. There used to be like this. I
I feel
remember
like
when that
you're a
first.
basketball player. It's got to be, right?
Yeah, I mean that was kind of the trend back in the day. I remember when it first came out. That's what everybody was wanting to do. Everybody was doing it. But I mean, nowadays I'm gonna say pass it. I don't even own a pair of slides anymore. I mean, like I'll throw on my Hey Dudes, but I don't even wear socks with my Hey Dudes. I just put a sock over the insert, the sole there, of my Hey Dudes, and I don't even wear socks with my Hey Dudes. So I'm gonna pass on that one. Those are like my
Ain't nobody
slip-on,
want to see
like
them
my
feet,
slide-on
Mason.
slip-ons now.
Put some socks on, boy.
Yeah, actually,
I don't sleep in them
I
like
think
you
I
do.
low-key would. I think I would.
Hey,
Yeah, that's
man, I
nasty,
freeze.
Coton. I think I would draft. I would draft this one. Like especially like when it's like a little bit colder outside. Keep my socks on in the house. Just put my slides on. I got some like literally the only slide that I have is like my outdoor ones because I got them off the Tommy truck forever ago. Uh, and so I just keep them in our closet. It's like when I have to go get something, take out the trash or let the dog out or something. All right, my next one is going to be a spontaneous road trip with zero plans. I am absolutely passing on this 1000%. If you
I
know
knew Dylan
me,
would.
I am a
So
planner.
OCD. He
I
is no.
am not going to be making because I mean, like, that's just like so much stress for me. I feel like unnecessary stress. Like, where are we going to go? How much is this going to cost? Where are we going to sleep? What are we even going to be doing on each day? What is our plans? Listen, it makes no sense to me at all. Just to give, a little bit of just to build up on that, like how big of a planner am I? I plan our golf trips literally over a year out just to make sure like we have a plan. Somebody's got to be
Appreciate you
that
doing that,
person.
big dog.
I am that person. Yeah, nobody else will step up to the plate.
You're
So
the man.
uh,
Just,
that's not me. Would
I'm
you all pass or draft that one?
I'm
I
drafting.
mean, I am kind of the go with the flow guy. I drafted, yeah. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not
it's not
worried about
me.
what I
I'm
do.
passing.
I go with the flow.
Dylan, that
Yeah,
just
you
reminds
do
me,
what?
like
Yeah,
you.
y'all do what y'all's women say you do.
Whoa.
Go as you about to say, Mason.
I was gonna say, I remember how like so OCD and like organized you are in college. You used to have stuff sitting on your desk, and I'd walk in there and mess with you and just like turn it a certain way, like a stapler or something. I'd just turn it the other way, and he'd walk into his room and immediately notice it and fix it.
Yeah, it's not
Like,
went anywhere. Still happens. Still something I'm working on. I'm sorry. All right, Colton, your last one. Draft it or pass it. Pretending you didn't see someone so you don't have to talk to them.
I'm gonna pass it. I mean,
No,
I feel like
no, you are drafting that. Don't be the better person on here. If there is somebody
what do you
you do
mean?
not like, so
Oh,
you're telling
what?
me if there is somebody you do not
Oh,
like, you like don't want to talk to them.
you did not add that. You did not say that. You just said someone you knew.
Okay, let me
You
rephrase
didn't
it.
say someone you.
Pretending you didn't see
Okay.
someone you didn't like, so you don't have to
I
talk to them.
mean,
Is what I meant.
I mean,
They'll never
I
know.
I guess I would draft that, but I mean, like I'm also been that kind of guy that like even the people that like I'm not the biggest fans of, you come across and you just make like the smallest conversation possible and then go on, right? You just kind of like, I mean, that I've always kind of been that guy too. So, I mean, it's tough for me to draft it because like I still manage to just like somehow avoid the awkwardness by just saying something small and then moving on. But sure, I'll draft it.
Mason, what are you doing?
I mean, I feel like I'm gonna say something. I'm too nice of a person, like I'm not just gonna turn my head and like if
Oh,
let me ask you this.
Yeah,
Let me
y'all are
yeah,
full of it right
yeah.
now. Listen,
Come on
I am a
now.
great
What do you
person too, I
mean?
think, but I think 100%. I guess in my head, I'm picturing you are in a rush. I'm not saying like you're sitting there at a restaurant and like they walk by you and you can say, "Hey, what's up? How you been?" Blah blah blah. I'm picturing in my head. I guess I should have made it a little bit more detailed. You're in a rush. You're trying to like Mason. Let's just say for you, you got both Beckett and Brees. They're crying. You're in a rush. You see somebody you do not like, or you've had, you've come into contact with them, and you've not agreed on something. You're trying to get out of this, I guess, Walmart as quick as possible. So you're not going to actively go the way, like if there was a way that you could, like, okay, I'm just gonna act like I don't see them, so we can get out of here. Like that's what I'm picturing in my head when I hear this, but I guess it wasn't that detailed. So yeah, I guess it makes more sense the way you are saying it, but that's the way I was envisioning it.
do I make eye contact with them?
Too much.
Like, do they see me seeing them?
Oh, if you
Because if
make
they
eye
do, then
contact
I'm
with them, no, if you make eye contact with them, it's over. You got to talk to them.
okay. I
No,
mean,
I'm saying they don't see you. They don't see you.
so are you asking if I'm gonna go out of my way to
I
say
mean,
something to
maybe I'm not
somebody?
going. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
exactly what
I
I was
get
gonna
you're
say. I
not.
was like, I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
you're
go out
not
of my way
actively.
across the store to go
Right.
see them. But
Right.
Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah, that's what and again, I guess I didn't that's the what are you going sorry guys, I messed up on one.
I'll
But
say
yeah, I
this:
guess
like,
that was
if
the one.
they're in one aisle, but if they're in the aisle like getting bread and I need bread, I'm gonna go down and get the bread. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, can't
Oh
go down that
yeah,
aisle.
no, that's not what I was
Yeah.
referencing to. I guess I'm more of the
Okay.
actively seeking out. Uh all right, Mason, let's get to yours. Colton, you can also chip in on this one since that one was a fail, wasn't as great. So this is for both of you all. Draft it or pass it. AirPods being one of the best inventions ever. For
I'm gonna
modern day,
pass.
I
I mean, like,
guess.
no
Yeah, I'm gonna pass it too.
best
I, I
inventions ever. I mean,
what
these
about
are sweet,
electricity?
but I mean, add a wire to them. I mean, you see all these NFL guys now. They're walking in. Half of these guys still wear wires for some reason. Like, they still have
Yeah.
the wired headphones. So I mean, I'd pass it personally. I mean, for greatest inventions, if you want to, I do love them. But I mean, greatest
I didn't
inventions.
say greatest. I said best. One of the
You
best inventions.
what's the difference?
There's a
I,
difference.
heck, I think the iPhone's a
What?
better invention than the AirPods. Like being able to have everything at your finger, like it's literally a
I
little
don't.
computer in your hands.
Yeah. All right. Well, my last one, draft it or pass it. Playing golf under 40 degrees. Uh, this one for me is an easy one. What it comes down to is the wind. If the wind is not blowing, then yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm drafting it. I'll play at 38 degrees, 39 degrees all day if it's not blowing wind. Uh, if it's howling wind though, and it's 35, yeah, count me out. Just that wind factor, man.
Absolutely
It's just
not.
it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So, all right, we got. I don't know how much time we got. I think we're going to have about 5-10 minutes left. So, whoever it is, I don't know which one it is. Get into our upcoming pickums,
Can you
and
not see
maybe
the
we can
timer,
talk.
Dylan?
No, I can,
It's
but it broke up
58.
whenever somebody called
Oh,
me.
okay.
So we're
It's at
okay.
58.
Great. Okay. So let's just spend 5 minutes. Whoever has the pickums, and if you want to allude on Kentucky's upcoming game, we can talk just a little bit about it. It's okay if we go over a little bit of an hour, but hey, let's get it.
Yeah. All right. So I'll start off with the pick'ems here, and then we can kind of jump into Kentucky's upcoming games. But college football pick'em. So first game we're going to start out with is BYU at Texas Tech. I believe top 10 matchup. I think like 7 and 8. They're very close together. So we'll throw it over to Colton first. What do you got?
I'm going to go. It's at Texas Tech, right? College game day. I'm assuming they're probably going with like a blackout, like the old Texas Tech days when they
Yeah.
had the Michael Crabtrees and the Mahomes and some of them there. I'm going to go with Texas Tech. I think they're in the trenches. I just think they're better in the defensive and offensive line than BYU. So I'm going Texas Tech.
Dylan?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to BYU. I mean, you're looking at a BYU team who is making a lot of noise. 8-0. They're 5-0 in their conference. They beat Utah, Kansas State, Arizona. Hey, they even beat UCF, who has played well this year. So I like the momentum they have going into a hostile environment. Their quarterback, he's played some great football this year. And I don't know. I like BYU. Give me them.
All right. I'm going to roll with, I'm rocking with Texas Tech here. Like you said, Dylan, BYU leads the conference right now. They're ahead of Texas Tech. So I think Texas Tech is going to come into this game, locked in, knowing what they need to do to get to that tie with BYU and have the overall, that head to head. And BYU, they haven't had like a true, they played at Iowa State, but Iowa State hasn't been great here recently. So this is going to be a tough test for them, I think, going into Texas Tech, like you said, college game day. It is an early game. I think that plays to their advantage. It's like a noon kickoff or 11 o'clock kickoff. So I think that helps them a little bit, but it is going to be a hostile environment. So I'm rocking with Texas Tech. Let's move on to the next game. Texas A&M at Missouri. We'll go in the same order here. Colton, what do you like?
Yeah, if Missouri still had their quarterback, I'd probably would have took Missouri in this one. I just think Texas A&M, even though I do think they're better than what they normally have been, and they're, having a big win at Notre Dame and a couple at LSU. But I think Missouri's a very tough place to play. But the quarterback got hurt, backup quarterback. I don't know what they have. I'm just going to go with Texas A&M. They've already proven to win some big road wins. I think they win this one.
Dylan?
Yeah, I'm in total agreement with Colton. Like, listen, I think Texas A&M is they're the real deal this year. I know previously we've talked about, can they be, are they a fake? Are they going to fake it till they make it and then show their true colors? Well, they've shown their true colors, I believe. I think that they've had a lot of big wins. That they remain unbeaten in not only in SEC play but their overall record. I mean, they're averaging 37.8 points per game, holding their opponents to 23.6, huge margin. They're doing it on not only the passing but the run game as well. I think they're the real deal. I like their coach as well. Seems like he's got them in the right path. So give me the Aggies.
All right. I'll keep it short and sweet. I'm rocking with A&M as well. I think this would be a good trap game for them if Missouri still had their quarterback. But without them having their starting quarterback, yeah, I'm rocking with A&M. Next game here, let's jump to LSU at Bama. I know LSU has not been playing as well as what we thought. Maybe they, as good as they were going to be starting the season. But let's throw it to Dylan first this time. Dylan, who you like?
Yeah, this is an easy one for me. Roll Tide. LSU, they are everywhere. I mean, they just fired Brian Kelly. They no chance, no shot. This is not going to be a Penn or not Penn, excuse me, a UCLA thing where their coach gets fired and then they win a game. It's not going to happen. It's not going to be this. You're talking about running into Alabama team. Kellen DeBoer has his team rolling and steaming into the playoffs. Going to make a deep run. So roll Tide.
Yeah.
Nope.
I mean, I think Alabama's going to win. I do think LSU will make it tough for about all the way through about the third quarter. I think Alabama will probably get up to about 10-13 in the fourth quarter, and that's pretty much where they'll stay. Sometimes players rally, right? That this is going to be their first game off of the firing. They had a bye week, so sometimes you kind of saw Florida play Georgia tough right after firing Napier. I could see LSU. I mean, LSU is projected, and it's not like they've been killed with injuries. So, I mean, we're talking about a team that was projected to maybe win the national championship. A lot of people were projecting it, and they still have several, those guys are there. But yeah, give me Roll Tide. If it was at LSU, I actually probably would have picked this as a trap game for Alabama, but being at Bama, Roll Tide.
Yep, I agree with everything y'all said. Roll Tide. Let's get to the next one. Georgia at Mississippi State. Dylan, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
I feel like I've been getting a little deep, so I'm gonna keep it short and sweet and let Mason elaborate, and then let Colton go last this time. But give me the dogs.
Oh yeah. All right.
Which dogs?
I like it.
They're both Bulldogs.
He can't lose.
Yeah, that is true. The Georgia Bulldogs.
I honestly thought you were talking about Mississippi State first. No, I'm gonna roll with Georgia as well. I could see this being a little bit of a trap game for Georgia, if they don't come out and ready to play. Because Mississippi State, they played Tennessee close, lost in overtime at home to Tennessee. They played Florida close. They lost at Florida by 2. They also played Texas very close, lost again in overtime. That was at Mississippi State as well. So they played some of these better teams in the SEC pretty close. Just got a win last week. Tough fought win over Arkansas. So I think Georgia is going to win. I think they're the better team, but could be a trap game for them.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Georgia. I'm like you. I don't know what the spread is. I would say it's probably like Georgia might be like a 8 or 9 point favorite, probably just right at a touchdown, maybe just a hair more. I do like Mississippi State's offense. I could see them being like up until the third quarter, but Gunnar Stockton's done. He's starting to show that he's a really good quarterback. They're starting to put up a lot of points, and offense looks better. So give me Georgia.
All right, and then last game, we got the Cats taking on the Gators at home. Start with you, Bulldog. What do you like?
Give me the Cats.
That's
We're
what
going to
I
win
like,
out.
baby.
Give me the
Exactly.
Cats.
He's
We're
coming
winning
back.
That. We're winning out. Mark Stoops is returning.
Oh, God.
And we're going to be sitting
Exactly.
here next year having the same thing. They're about to win. They're about to win the same game against Florida. I'm just telling you, they're going to end up winning it. They're going to make Lagway look bad. They're going to have a pick or two on Lagway. Cutter Bowley's it's going to be like a 20-17 type game. They're going to win it. And we'll make Tennessee Tech. We'll end up upsetting either Louisville or Vandy. I mean, that's just how we're going to end up with like 5 wins or 6 wins. We're going to beat the over.
Yep.
Everyone bet the under on 4.5, and they're going to just ruin everyone's betting. I just know it. Go Cats.
You can go ahead and pass on me, Mason, because I was about to say the exact same thing. We're winning this game. Stoops troops are back, baby. We're about to come in. We are going to dominate and beat the Florida Gators, and Stoops is coming back. Mark it down.
Can we make the college football playoff? Can we be in the playoff? Can we make it?
I'm going with the Cats, too. Go Cats. I hope we win. I just hope we win. It doesn't mean Mark Stoops comes back.
We get in here, lose like 42-7.
What if we get Mark Stoops on the show? Welcome to Bluegrass State of Mind, Mark Stoops. Listen, man, we were totally wanting you out. Great job, great wins there.
We were doing nothing but supporting.
All right, Mason, end it for the night. What we got coming up?
All right. So Cats got a couple big games coming up. So we talked about, the Florida football game. We got Valpo tomorrow. Nice little, next little warm up game before we got Louisville next Tuesday. I was looking at it. I mean, obviously this was the earliest game I could remember, but it's the earliest UK Louisville game of all time, in the history. At Louisville, we've won 12 out of the last 15 meetings. All 3 recent victories for Louisville have been at the Yum Center. They're in Louisville, and the most recent being back in 2020. So I will say Louisville's looked good in their first 2 two games here in the regular season. They won 104-45 over South Carolina State, and then 106-70 over Jackson State tonight. So, Dylan, Colton, I don't care. One of y'all take it away. Tell me your thoughts and kind of what you expect.
I'll make mine short and sweet. I think the biggest story is Jalen Lowe. I think that's the biggest story headline. Letting him come in and see if he can make a automatic difference on offense. I think that we're really going to see what we're made of come Tuesday night. I mean, obviously, I know we can't oversee Valpo. Got to play them a good game in preparation for Louisville. But yeah, I mean, you're talking about going to see all the eggs in one basket really quick. Going into the Yum Center, Pat Kelsey has got the Cardinals back to elite level, which is what you love to see in a rivalry. Obviously, yes, we've dominated that series, like you said. I didn't realize it was 12 out of the last 15 that we've won, but just that's complete domination. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I mean, win or lose, I think that this is good for the state of Kentucky to see both programs at an elite level, and it's just exciting for the fans. You like to see that competition at a high level.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement. I'll be able to tell a lot more after seeing Jalen Lowe tomorrow night. Because I'll be honest with you, if it doesn't look better than it has the last two games, I think it's going to be tough for us to go into the Yum Center and win. I really do. I think if we want to win, I think we're almost got to hit double-digit threes. I really do. I think we got to get close to hitting double-digit threes if we're going to beat that game. But it's an exciting game. Not only is it exciting for us as a fan base and the rivalry, but it's also happening early, and we're talking about like the whole country going to be eyes on, this rivalry. So, it's going to be an exciting game. We're going to keep it, but it's hard to judge. I'll have a little more after Jalen Lowe, but go Cats. We'll always choose the Cats.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think it's going to boil down to our offense because I think Louisville's very, very good offensively. I mean, they put up over 100 points so far in both their games, and I know they haven't played great teams, but still, they're really good offensively. And I think we're better this year defensively, and we got more athleticism. But I still think we're going to have to score 75, 80 points, if not more, if we want to win this game because I think it's going to be a fast-paced game. They're going to be shooting a lot. So it'd be interesting to see, like you said, Jalen Lowe coming back, what difference that makes with the flow of our offense and everything before we see Louisville on Tuesday.
Exciting times in the Bluegrass State, guys. Man, what a great episode. We enjoy doing this. Thanks for listening in. As always, go Cats.
Go Cats.
That's a wrap for this episode of Bluegrass State of Mind. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Also, be on the lookout for our social media pages and be sure to follow them. We've got plenty more stories, insights, and conversations coming your way. And if you really loved it, make sure to share it with a friend. From the hills to the hollers, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep that Kentucky spirit strong.